Hey everyone, Nubkeks here and welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. In today's episode we're going to be exploring Anub'arak, one of my actual favourite heroes, the one I have not played much recently. He's kind of been, in my opinion, the forgotten hero of Season 2 and is, I think, going to come back a bit now, in quite a big way maybe, in Season 3 of Hero League. If you guys remember back in Season 1, Anub'arak was incredibly dominant. He was a very, very powerful hero. Very, very powerful. Got nerfed then, started Season 2 a little bit and fell off. But he has, in the last patch, received a small buff to his health and his HP regen. And I think that is going to be enough to kind of nudge him back, if not into the limelight, into people's notice a bit more. Because he's a really, really fantastic hero. And he has a very good win rate at the moment. What maps is Anub'arak good at? Well, he seems to be very good at quite a few, actually. He seems to be doing very well on Battlefield of Eternity. That's a bit of a surprise to me. I'm not sure exactly how that pans out, but he's certainly good at getting kills and getting ganks and stuff like that. So maybe that's why he works there. Seems to be good at Brax's Holdout, Towers of Doom, Cursed Hollow, and Infernal Shrines. Basically, maps where you can have sort of these bigger team fights where people can be a bit condensed into choke points so that you can kind of land your CC, because he has a lot of CC. So when people are grouped up, very effective at getting in on top of them, catching multiple people with his CC attacks, his stuns, and really abusing that. We're going to be using him on Towers of Doom today. The enemy team did pick up Li Ming and Uther. Uther's kind of an interesting one, and that really set me up very much so for picking up Anub'arak, because I said, okay, well, number one, Anub'arak is fantastic against Li Ming. Right, what are Anub'arak's strengths? What's he really good at? Well, his base kit and his level 1 talent, I think, and then his heroic in some ways, all kind of tie into what makes him pretty good. You can see I'm asking for another frontliner, which is, I think, somewhat important with Anub'arak. But what makes him really good? Well, his trait is he spawns these little beetles every time he has an ability. The beetles, they do pretty crap damage, they've got pretty crap HP, but one thing they do, which is really nice, is they block skill shots that hit heroes. Okay, so Thrall here is a bit of a funny example, because obviously the wolf goes through minions and stuff, so that won't stop Thrall's wolf. But Li Ming, well, hey, guess what? Those little beetles, they block your magic missiles. They block your arcane orbs. They're a big pain in the ass for mages like Li Ming and Jaina, who rely on hitting their skill shots. You know, if you block Jaina's Frostbolt with one of your beetles, you can completely throw off her combo, her DPS flow. If you block Li Ming's magic missiles, she doesn't proc Seeker because she hit the beetle instead. If it blocks an arcane orb, that also denies a bunch of damage. Can be really effective. Anub'arak's also pretty good against heroes that work well with Uther. Namely, heroes that kind of want to dive. So here's work well with Uther. We're thinking like the Butcher, we're thinking Greymane, something like that. A hero that wants to like dive into the middle of the enemy team and just do loads and loads of damage, and the Divine Shield protects them. Well, when Divine Shield isn't up, Anub'arak is very strong against them because he has a stun on his Q and a stun on his E. He also does good AoE damage to melee heroes. So yeah, he brings a lot of lockdown. He brings a lot of CC. So he's very good actually with heroes that tend to combo with Uther. So I figured that he'd be a pretty good one to pick here. Now, in the end, the enemy team didn't actually pick anyone who's that good with Uther, which is somewhat ironic. I mean, they've got Thrall, he's not bad. And Thrall is decent enough against Anub'arak, I suppose. Anub'arak's big weakness, I would say his big weakness is probably heroes like Raynor and Vala. Basically, ranged heroes that can just pump and pump and pump basic attack damage into him from a safe distance. Stuff like that would be pretty good. Leoric is probably pretty strong as well. He's a warrior that can stand up to Anub'arak quite easily and bully him off. Things like that. They're generally speaking, I think, gonna be quite effective against you. Your level 1 talent, you, in my opinion, nearly always want to be grabbing Dampen Magic, which will give you a spell shield. I think it's every 8 seconds. So actually, let me get the talent calculator up. I closed it. I just did a video before this, and I closed the talent calculator. I'm such a noob. Talent calculator, so I can get you all the precise details of what the talents actually do. But yeah, dampen magic at level 1. This is going to be your go-to, pretty much one of the main reasons you pick Anub'arak. Also makes him very strong against someone like Li Ming. When you take ability damage, you reduce that damage and all further ability damage by 50% for 1.5 seconds. And this can trigger every 8 seconds. Amazing against Li Ming. Really neutralizes a lot of her poke, a lot of that stuff. You can see we got hit by an arcane orb there. Really did almost no damage, and Morales is more than capable of healing that right back up again. And we're able to just back off and be just fine. Your Q is a skill shot. It's quite difficult to hit, actually. This line of spikes goes out. It's a medium speed moving skill shot. Very narrow, actually. I think I miss a few in this particular game. We actually go in and kill Gazlo. Worth hashtag. Ironically, I think it actually is somewhat worth. Pretty good for us to be trading evenly like that in this particular game, because we do have a Falstad and a Varian who are both going to scale pretty nicely into the late game. The enemy team is going to obviously scale fine as well. But I think with Varian, hey, if you can go even in your early game with Varian, that's more than good. That's really, really nice. As you can see, we have a bit of a strange team comp in this one. Probably not a team comp that you would very commonly associate with being excellent at top level. Anub'arak, a very underrated tank. Nova, very underrated ranged damage dealer. Varian, who obviously has got a terrible early game. Falstad is considered pretty good, and then we've got Morales, who's a very underrated healer at high levels. So yeah, I mean, looking at the composition, we've got a bit of a wonky one, whereas the enemy team have Muradin, Thrall, Li Ming. They've got a pretty good composition, and then they got Uther as well as their healer. I think I probably released this after the Lost Vikings video, and as you'll notice, they would have a team that's actually pretty damn good with the Lost Vikings. If the Vikings were in the spot of Gazlo, it's a good team comp for Gazlo as well. It's basically like a really strong 4-man composition that's completely functional without that 5th hero, so you can kind of slot anything in. That's the sort of position where actually Nova works really well, where Gazlo, the Lost Vikings, there's a lot of heroes that fit very nicely into that sort of that 5th slot when you have a flexible 4-man team that can handle multiple things. I was a bit slow rotating around here. It was difficult to know which way to go because we have the Gazlo turrets and stuff to deal with. It's going to be fairly difficult to take this bottom one. Yeah, we see there's multiple turrets here. I was thinking, okay, I can soak these up a little bit, but I'm just going to back it up at this stage. Looking to maybe get a pick on the Gazlo. He went a bit too far forwards there. So this is actually going to work out pretty nicely for us. Going to try focus him down, staying on top of him, soaking some of these turret shots for Falstad as Falstad goes in. Falstad does land the final hit. So that's kind of what was going on right there. Pretty interesting, actually. I thought it was going to back up. Ooh, actually just missed the Q. That was a bit of a noob move. We could have interrupted him if only we had waited and been a bit more patient with aiming that Q. We were just like a centimeter too short. That is unfortunate. But yeah, we kind of caught Gazlo. That was an interesting spot. That was a very interesting spot where he was pretty well set up with those turrets. Missed another Q, which is pretty bad. But yeah, he's pretty well set up with the turrets, but he did then move kind of badly, and that let us dive him and pick him off. It's not the worst trade, not the best. As you can see, we're substantially up now in terms of XP, even though we're down in turret shots. So once again, in my estimation, this is kind of a win. Considering we've got a Varian, this is definitely, I think, a win for us. We want to get to level 10 as quickly as possible, and without falling too far behind. We're actually in the lead, so things are looking pretty nice for us. Level 4, you got a bunch of really interesting options at level 4. Bunch of really interesting options. In this game, I went for Legion of Beetles. You'll automatically spawn a beetle every 8 seconds, and you can toggle it on or off. I remember asking one of the other videos, why would you ever toggle this off? And I think a good reason that people came up with was so that you can hide in a brush. Basically hide out in that bush, and then you'll never spawn the beetles, and it's all going to be good. But yeah, Legion of Beetles, it's a bit of extra damage, it's a bit of extra laning pressure. The big reason I picked it up in this game was that's an extra beetle to block Li Ming skill shots and just be a pain in her butt. And also to soak up turret shots from the Gazlo. So yeah, I figured Legion of Beetles in this game is going to be very solid. You could also pick up Locust Needles. It's the same as Kerrigan's level 4. It makes your basic attack splash for 60% damage around the target. Very nice for some extra wave clear. You want to pick this up if you're expecting to be solo laning quite a lot. It's Anub'arak. Anub'arak is a funny one. He's a very funny one. He's a bit like Tyrael. in that he can solo lane, and he's not going to lose any. Well, he's not going to lose horrifically, but he's never going to win anything. But he shouldn't lose too many solo lanes too horrifically. He'll probably be relatively okay for most of them. A bit of a crazy team fight happening here. The enemy team's actually stolen our siege camp from under our noses, and Morales is being collapsed upon. I do stun the Thrall, just trying to save Morales from that. Varian does go down, unfortunately. Looks like Falstaff's going to fall as well. Not too good. We did distract them and did it as much as we could, but our teammates did go down on the side, unfortunately. We do interrupt Thrall with our Q this time around, so we aimed it correctly, and that's fine. You see Li Ming Arcane Orb hits us at kind of max range. We have the Dampen Magic ready, and it absorbs it, and we take almost no damage. Gonna tap this well, make our way back around. Nova attempting to interrupt Thrall, but she doesn't quite land the snipe, so we don't grab that one. Unfortunate, but not the end of the world. You can see the XP has equalized. We're now both hitting level 8 at about the same time. We are down actually only one altar, which is very, very nice. But like I said, the main thing is get to level 10, and we're going to be in a better position from then on. Not too surprising that we've kind of lost this early game a little bit. Difficult to fight into Gazlowe with a variant, no doubt about that whatsoever. Level 7, I picked up Chitinous Plating. This is my go-to level 7 nearly always. Got a nice kill there on the Li Ming. Good work by Nova following up on that. When Hardened Carapace is active, so when our W, our shield, is up, if we take damage from abilities, it will reduce the cooldown up to 3 seconds. So if it gets hit, I think 5 times, something like that, I don't know, a few times, you will reduce the cooldown by up to 3 seconds. It's going to help your survivability a whole bunch. It's just going to be really, really useful. Especially, once again, against Li Ming. I mean, 3 magic missile hits, and nice one. There we go, we've just knocked a whole bunch off the cooldown. If she has Disintegrate, that's going to just guarantee maximum 3-second cooldown reduction every time. So yeah, it's just a great talent overall to improve your survivability. There's another option on that tier I quite like, which is Shed Exoskeleton, which gives you move speed whenever you use your W. That's also a decent option, but I do tend to gravitate towards Chitinous Plating as much as possible. Level 4, you had another one, Underking, which makes your E, your burrow charge, better. And that's not a bad option either if you want a bit more CC. Kind of nice pick on this Uther here. Very well played by the team. They actually picked off Thrall, looks like on the bottom lane too. Nice gank from Nova. We're going to Hearthstone, get some mana, and come back. You can see we're having a lot of mana issues in this particular game, because we do have a Morales who's able to heal us up and keep us alive. Big Colossus Smash coming out from the Varian. Nova follows up, and Gazlowe does go down. We got that level 10 power spike, and we are really exploiting it. We're now level 11 to level 10, the enemy team. They have got heroics in time for the altar phase, but we have started to accumulate quite a large lead as this game goes on. Level 10, I did pick up Locust Swarm, and this is a really nice heroic, a really underrated heroic. You can really surprise and catch people out with this. What it does, it's awesome. It is awesome. It does just this constant AoE damage per second. Actually quite nice AoE damage per second, I have to say. Quite nice AoE damage every second around Anub'arak. And each time it damages an enemy, it heals you for a little bit of health. And this lasts for 8 seconds. So this is super useful against, you know, if you pop this in the middle of the enemy team, like if they are stacked up, and you go in with this, you're going to heal yourself a whole ton. You're going to do a whole ton of damage. It gives Anub'arak a surprising amount of survivability. Here we go. We've popped it right now. You can see these constant ticks of health. Constant ticks of health coming on top of us. Really nice. We're just in the middle of the enemy team doing as much damage as we can, trying to catch them out. Earthquake is making this fight a little bit difficult. Li Ming off to the side, not really able to make much happen. The Nova clone actually absorbing that Arcane Orb, which is pretty good for us. And there we go. We actually picked off Uther. Now with Uther being the one that we actually got to kill right there, Uther on top of the Earthquake, and the Uther Ghost heals did help the enemy team escape from that without losing too many more. But a really nice team fight for us overall. Li Ming goes down to the Varian Colossus Smash up to the top, and things are looking pretty nice. Things are looking pretty nice. You can see I'm just kind of lurking around here. I know I've got my E, so I'm never in any danger. Stormball comes out, it doesn't really do anything. And level 13 then, we got another bunch of very interesting options, a bunch of very strong talents in this tier as well. So Burning Rage is going to be your sort of damaging go-to if you don't have Chitinous Plating. Remember, chitinous plating is the level 7 talent, reduces the cooldown over W. I'm going to go for electrocating spines in this particular game. This makes our W, our hardened carapace, do this big burst of AoE damage, or medium burst of AoE damage, and it does double damage against heroes. So it's a nice little burst of damage against heroes. Very good combo with the level 7 talents, and also in this particular game, it's going to work very well with Colossus Smash, right? Varian, Colossus smashes someone, we can then go in and with that vulnerability, it's going to synergize very nicely with our W. Our W will synergize very nicely with Colossus Smash. He gets vulnerable. Here we go. We go in. Nice burst of damage. Gonna be pretty good. Colossus Smash actually coming out a bit later to gap close afterwards. Kind of interesting right there. We've popped our heroic once again, doing lots of damage, healing ourselves up a whole bunch as well. Trying to get in on top of the enemy team right here. We go Li Ming actually going pretty deep. We stun the Thrall instead. We got our E available, but we have to choose our targets wisely because this is kind of going a bit nuts. Actually come in here, trying to block out this Li Ming, get her out. There we go. Nice work by Nova, finishing her off. Very, very good. And 2 kills for 1. Not too shabby. Thrall's in a bit of a tough spot too, but he's not going to go down quite yet. We're doing some damage to Murden. Murden has Dwarf Toss to get out of there. Would a good fight for us overall, I suppose. 1 for 1. We did push the enemies off. And yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. It was close to being better for us. It was certainly a bit tricky. This is the thing with Anub'arak. I think one of the big misconception I often see with Anub'arak is people saying, "Oh, you only ever use E to escape. What are you doing engaging with your E, you big noob?" That's a huge misconception. A huge misconception. You do absolutely want to be using your E during the team fights. You do absolutely want to use it to engage when the time is right. It certainly leaves you vulnerable, so you don't want to use it all the time. But when you do get a good position for using your E, you absolutely want to use it. It is a large AoE stun. Large AoE stuns are really good. It'd be like someone saying you only want to use Power Slide to escape. It's a really bad idea. Yeah, so don't only use your E to escape. For example, right here, we got the enemy team. They're kind of out of position. Li Ming did teleport away, so we didn't get anything out of that. But if we had caught her, that could have been a dead Li Ming, which would have worked really nicely for us. Just kind of harassing the enemy team a little bit. Not too worried again. I've got lots of CC. I've got Dampen Magic. Not concerned about any damage that they can throw out in return. Just checking cooldowns for heroics right there. And the enemy team, oh hello, that is not the way you want to rotate. We did go for an E onto the Gazlo. Unfortunately we missed, but that's not the end of the world. You can see there the W damage from us, doing quite a chunk of damage to Gazlo. And we are engaging on top of the enemy team. We're running in with this Banner of Stormwind, boosting our speed. We've popped our heroic, and it was doing some good damage. We catch Thrall with a Q. Falstad finishes him off as well. And that is a triple kill. That's a quad kill. 4 enemy team members dead. And this is going to be a pretty good turn of events for us. I'm running down to the bottom with the team fight secured for us. I'm going straight to this altar. Just grab that and then depush this lane. Considering what to pick at level 16 as well. Actually, to finish level 13, you also have Bed of Barbs, which is like your CC option, and it's not terrible either. It's not terrible either. I tend to always go for chitinous plating, electrocating spines in 90% of my Anub'arak games, because it's just the most generally useful. And yeah, you're just gonna, if you're using it the most often, it's pretty nice. You can see you're going into the middle of the minions, doing a little bit of extra wave clear, pushing these out. Unfortunately, there's a Gazlo here, which is gonna just depush that lane pretty quickly with the turrets and the bomb. But still kind of useful to have. Varian looking for a gank. Make sure I'm inside the brush, not too shabby. Level 16, to pick up Blood for Blood. It's just the generic Blood for Blood. Gives a bit more survivability, and also help us burst down, you know, Muradin or Thrall, or even Gazlo as well. Someone who gets caught out by the combo from Varian. We got a really nice pick comp between all of our heroes. Going in for the Li Ming, we actually missed the E on her, but we did drive her away, so that's just fine. Removed her from the fight for a little while. And that's all she wrote. We do try to pick off the Gazlo with the Blood for Blood. He walks away with a tiny sliver of HP. Really bad luck right there. Trying to stun Muradin and just take out some of these turrets as well, which are consistently doing damage to us. Going in top of Li Ming. There we go. We do pick her off, or I think it's probably Varian did nearly all of that, but we were ready to follow up. Nova pops in and finishes off Gazlo as well. Muradin is trying to escape. We're very low on mana. We do hit him with one last W. We've got lots of health, but no mana left now at this point. There's not much more for us to do. Falstad arriving down, but he had not picked the best position for his flank. Ooh, Muradin actually gets hit by Colossus Smash and a Divine Shield having to save him. That's a big heroic that's going to be gone for this altar fight. We're more than happy to take that. Going to tap this well, get some mana back, and be ready to fight right here. We should have a very good advantage with the enemy team just respawning as this altar activates. Level 16 Epicenter is another really good option, which increases the area of your burrow charge, your E. That was a nice combo. That was a very nice combo. Thrall's going to die as well. Beautiful. Beautiful. Catching them in the CC combo. Catching them with the variant. The enemy team just explodes. There's nothing they can do. We're just going to start working on this tower. Getting some siege damage down for freebies. Our team are not rotating up, so this is... Alright, Nova has arrived. Trying to focus a bit on the Gazo. Unfortunately, we do get some, as you see, really good damage down on him, but with the turrets were well placed enough, and I should have paid more attention to that. Nova wasn't actually able to get on top of him, unfortunately. Now we're in a rough spot. Hit Murden with the Q, but that leaves us with not enough mana to E, and we do get taken down and really sucked. Those slowing turrets from Gazo really punishing us. And then just not having enough mana. It was one of those tough situations where I knew the Stormbolt was up. I said, oh shit, I need to Q Murden to stop him from killing me, and then I can E out in safety, but we didn't have enough mana to get out. Being a little bit greedy in terms of my positioning. Now, our teammates, they did get a kill down bottom. I think they got the bottom tower as well, so they made stuff work. So my death was not too in vain, and then they rotated up nicely and got a kill on Gazo as well. So it did work out well for us in the end, but a bit too greedy in terms of my positioning, being a bit too aggressive right there. A little bit of a mistake. Not the worst mistake in the world, but a small mistake, and we do pay with our lives. Always something you need to be careful about. Dying this late in the game, give your enemy team a big chance to come back. Which I have to say, level 16, I do mix this one up quite a lot, I have to say. Blood for blood, obviously pretty decent, especially in this game since we are effectively the solo tank. But I do love Epicenter, is probably my favorite. Just getting more stuns with the E, you know, and just using it aggressively. It's really nice, really, really useful. Makes it easier to stun people and to get multiple stuns off. There you go, we catch the enemy team in a pretty nice spot. I do pop my heroic at the end, just figuring, okay, you know what, I will pop this for some damage. Let's just try and win this team fight pretty well. We're focusing down Uther. Uther should go down right here. He's able to heal himself once, twice. We should go down nonetheless. Looks like he is dead, so I'm just going to swing around, help Varian pick off Murden, and we do pick off Murden. 8 shots on the enemy core to win the game, and there's 10 shots available for us. This is going to be game easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Cannot complain too much. We're going to hit level 20, but I don't think we're even going to pick up a talent. I don't think we're going to have time. I think we're going to win the game before that point. So our teammates are going for one final kill for swag. Nice work by Varian, getting the Colossus Smash and then dodging out of the stun. I like it a lot. And there you go. They pick up the final kill right before the game ends. GG, we hit level 20 as well. GG, well played. Nice team. Worked out very well for us. Very, very well for us. I do have to say, I kind of like somewhat the Varian combo with Anub'arak. It seems really good for picks. Now, the one thing I'm a bit concerned about in terms of this combo is your solo laning is going to be pretty weak. Like I said, Anub'arak is not the best solo laner by any stretch of the imagination. He can do it okay, but he's not great. And the same thing is going to happen with Varian. You know, the same thing's going to happen with Varian. He's going to be... I don't think he's going to be great with him. Now, it worked out really well in this game, you know. Hey, we got some really nice burst combos. Like, sure, the Colossus Smash synergizes really well with Anub'arak. It really does. But I think your early game ought to be very, very, very weak, because you're not going to have a good solo laner. Normally, you know, your second warrior is going to be a good solo laner. So if your front line is just Anub'arak and Varian, both are pretty weak at that. It's not going to work out too great. You can certainly run Anub'arak, like we did in this game, as the main tank. It definitely works, and it's definitely underrated. It can be effective if you pick him into heroes that he counters well. He's going to actually be very, very good, but it is important that you pick him into heroes that he counters well. Like I said, I would not pick him into probably Raynor, probably the scariest one, who's just going to melt through you with, like, your health pool is pretty low for Anub'arak, and you got kind of good sustained healing over time with your heroic and with, you know, multiple shields with your W. And then just the fact that you can CC people really well. But like Raynor is going to be able to dodge your CC pretty easily. And he's just going to melt through your health pool with his basic attacks. Because he's got like the most powerful, like, probably, I think in the game he's got like the most powerful, like, just focused single target basic attacks. Your dampen magic, not going to protect you from Raynor. No sir, it's not going to do anything much. And the Hyperion, I suppose, will pick off all your beetles too. That's something to consider as well. So yeah, be careful about that one. But he can solo tank if you're going up against things like, you know, Li Ming or stuff like that. He can be pretty effective. He's also very good as a second warrior. definitely would run him again, especially if they are running heroes that you can counter pretty well. I think he's going to be really nice against that. I think I'm interested to try him against Samuro, actually. Now, Samuro will be able to kill Anub'arak for sure, because Samuro is all basic attack damage, which is Anub'arak's probably main weakness. But then again, Anub'arak's got all this AoE stuff. He should be pretty good against Samuro. Like Locust Swarm should be really good against the clones. That Electrocating Spines AoE damage should be really good against the clones. And then, you know, your Q and your E doing AoE stuns, hey, that should be pretty good against Samuro clones as well. So, I don't know. I think that could be a decent matchup for you. So you absolutely can run him as your second warrior, and he can do a decent job at he can be okay in the solo. You can put him in the solo lane and he won't lose horrifically. It's basically the best thing I can say. But he's not gonna be winning, you know. It's not gonna be like a Thrall. He's not gonna be like an Anub'arak. He's like, yo guys, hey, I won the solo lane for you. Or Chen. He's not gonna be like that. Definitely not. I do think actually Anub'arak could be a really good one to pick with Rexxar, right? I think he'd be a really good hero to pick with Rexxar. Because then, there you go, Anub'arak, he brings, you know, kind of that mix of CC and damage that would actually work quite well with a Rexxar as two warriors to combo together. Rexxar is really good at solo laning, and then Anub'arak is pretty damn good roaming with his 4-man team, and that's pretty nice, right? And then your team fight should be pretty good too. Again, very good against like something like a Li Ming. You got Beatles and a Misha blocking all these skill shots. Pretty damn good. I like the sound of it. And then, you know, the Misha stuns combo very well with the Anub'arak stuns. I'm kind of digging that combo, and I want to try it out for sure. So yeah, just kind of throwing a few ideas your way in terms of how to use him in the game. Level 20, I like Hardened Shield the best. I do like Hardened Shield the best, and then I love, you know, you can play this really aggressive Anub'arak where, you know, you dive into the enemy team, you're just doing tons of damage with your heroic and your W, Electrocating Spines, you're soaking up loads with Hardened Shield and doing all this CC. It can be a really nice combo. Rewind is an option as well. I'm not a massive fan of it though, I have to say. I'm a much bigger fan of Hardened Shield, honestly, on Anub'arak. Yeah, I think it's a little bit better. You know, his skill shots can be a little bit clunky. I just think Hardened Shield is going to be kind of nicer and opens you up a bit more to using your stuff aggressively and avoiding some of those mana issues that you can have from time to time. I know people do like Hive Master, which is the upgrade for Locust Swarm. I think it's pretty bad. Certainly at high levels it's pretty bad. It's just sort of like more passive damage. You're honestly going to get way more survivability out of Hardened Shield in a big team fight, which is what's going to happen usually that late in the game. So yeah, that's what I would recommend in terms of talents. Dampen Magic, Legion of Beetles. But again, you can mix this up for either one level 4 if you want more sort of wave clear. Maybe on Infernal Shrines if you're solo laning. Locust Needles is good. Under King if you just want more CC. Level 7, generally speaking, Chitinous Plating. Level 10, Locust Swarm. Level 13, Electrocating Spines. Level 16, Blood for Blood if you want some more survivability and some single target burst. Epicenter if you want to just bring more AoE damage and more CC. And then level 20, Hardened Shield to really max out your tankiness and how aggressive you can play. And guys, that is Anub'arak. I think very undersung, a very underrated hero. Love him to bits, I have to say. I do love him to bits. And he can be very, very strong. You can also combo well, let's say, with maybe the new Diablo. That could be a good combo. Let me think about that. That might work pretty well, like as a sort of gank squad. Could have solo lane issues. Yeah, Rexxar, Kerrigan. Yeah, like a lot of heroes. Maybe even Illidan. You could be dive bros with Illidan. That could work pretty well. Yeah, I think there's plenty of options for heroes that combo well with him, and I encourage you to kind of think those through yourself and experiment yourself and see how they work out. Which I suppose the main thing to consider is that he's a great anti-mage and CC warrior, but a little bit squishy and not the best at solo laning. How does he fit into a composition? Giving you some insight. Hopefully it helps. Give it a thumbs up, guys, if you enjoyed the video. And yeah, we'll see how much Anub'arak pops up in Season 3. I am excited. I'm very excited. I will see you guys all next time for more Heroes of the Storm. Bye-bye.